My style is a little bit different than most conventional Republican Party chairmen. My style is more grassroots oriented. I'm much more of a street guy. I love hanging out in boardrooms, but I prefer to be in the neighborhoods and communities.
That street guy, Michael Steele, is going to get just what he wants, a good old-fashioned street fight for RNC chairman.
Oh, nice. Now he needs to raise some street money. How about that? All right, Top Line starts right now.
Hello and welcome to ABC News Top Line. I'm Rick Klein.
I'm Amy Walter.
Every day at noon Eastern, right here bringing you the latest in politics. Twitter.com/Rick Klein, Twitter.com/Amy E. Walter. A surprise last night from Michael Steele. I love the guy.
I know. This is what we're all talking about this morning. First Top Line of today, Steele standing. Yeah, that's right. Michael Steele. There was some talk that because he'd been silent for basically the last month, 6 weeks, that he was going to go out quietly. Oh, no, not this Michael Steele. He announced last night on a conference call with RNC committee members he is looking for a second term. And, Rick, this shouldn't be surprising to us, right?
That's right,
this is a
because
guy who
he
needs,
does surprise us. Yes.
Well, and let's face it, he needs something to do. And if it were up to Republicans, really the only way you're going to get rid of him is to find a place for him that's going to be able to allow him to make some money,
right,
and maybe do a little around the edges.
And the bizarre politics of the Republican National Committee are such that you can't rule him out as a possibility. He may not be the strongest candidate going into it. He's got some real flaws, but you can't say that there's no way that he wins this race.
Yep.
Next up today, honoring Holbrooke. Washington is mourning a towering figure in foreign policy and national security and international diplomacy. Richard Holbrooke passed away last night at the age of 69, and the timing of this is just fascinating, Amy, because he would be in the room today as Obama's national security team and foreign policy team works on the end stages of this Afghanistan-Pakistan review, a review that Mr. Holbrooke had a whole lot to do with. This is going to go on without him, and they're going to be missing a key player in all of their talks and all of the negotiations because of Mr. Holbrooke's death.
No, that's exactly right. So it's a tragedy, obviously, for his family, but for the Obama administration that is trying desperately to get some consensus and to move forward on Afghanistan. This is certainly a big blow. All right, next up, Romney's rocket. That's right, Mitt Romney out with an op-ed today in USA Today saying he disagrees with the tax plan, the one, that just overwhelmingly passed, the cloture vote overwhelmingly passed with 83 votes. Some other folks in the 2012 mix have also come out against it. Some, though, have come out for it.
That's
namely
right.
John Thune. Here he is.
Mitt Romney saying President Obama has reason to celebrate. The deal delivers short-term economic stimulus. It does so at the very time he wants it, most before the 2012 elections. But the long-term health of our great engine of prosperity will remain very much in doubt. To the twin inevitabilities of death and taxes, we may now have to add persistent high unemployment. That is strong words from Mitt Romney, and of course, it comes after it's passed, as you point out. The key distinction you can tell that the Romney land wants to make between himself and some members of the Senate who may be in 2012 runs as well. And finally today, challenging Rahm. Usually not a smart thing to do. We all know Rahm Emanuel, but he is a residency challenge that is playing out today in a courtroom in Chicago. And the best thing about it is that all of the different petitioners challenging his residency get to ask him questions. This is just unbelievable theater. Take a look at some of what happened this morning as they tried to launch this hearing.
Can you tell me where you went to grade school?
Can you hear that? It's a pleasure to be here. Does that work? Is that working?
Where did you graduate elementary school?
Are we there yet?
You're having a hard time getting out of the fourth grade.
Oh, this is great. Chicago
the joys of running for local office. See, this is why, whatever you want to say about why would anybody give up going to the White House to a job like this, they always say that the mayoral job is not that glamorous. You spend a lot of time worrying about plowing the snow, keeping the streets clean. You also have to worry about where you graduated from the fourth grade.
Fourth grade,
yes.
Exactly. It'll take a while to play out today. We're joined now by Matt Kibbe of FreedomWorks, a very prominent Tea Party-affiliated organization, but very active in races last month around the country, and of course moving forward. And I want to ask you first of all this health care ruling. This, I know, confirms what a lot of conservatives have been saying about it, but I want to move beyond even that and say, what impact will this have on the politics? What does this do to efforts to potentially repeal the Obama health care law?
I think it continues to give us momentum because we go into this new Congress in January And you're going to see House Republicans offer a full repeal. You're going to see them go after pieces like the individual mandates, which we now have reaffirmation from the Virginia court that this is unconstitutional, that the federal government can't impose a kind of mandate that insists that you buy a particular product at a particular price.
But does this ruling also argue for going at a piecemeal approach rather than a full repeal? You go to individual rather than going for the whole thing?
Well, I think you do both, because obviously with just control
How
of
do
the
you do
House.
both? Do you just start by saying we're going to do it one piece and then see what the
No,
Senate does, or you do a big deal and then?
You pass a full repeal in the House,
Yep.
and then you offer a number of piecemeal approaches, like repeal of the individual mandate, which, by the way, produces budget savings. Things that Democrats in the Senate, Democrats that have to run in 2012 will have heartburn in. You also continue to drive public opinion. You have this momentum in the courts. Hopefully we get this to the Supreme Court, all of which sets a stage for 2012, which will be a referendum on Obamacare.
I want to ask you about this tax debate that's playing out right now. We saw the vote in the Senate yesterday. You saw what Mitt Romney had to say about it in this USA Today op-ed today. Now, your organization has backed this tax deal. Club for Growth and some others, including some conservative senators, say it's not a good deal, not worth supporting.
Right.
Why is this? Why don't you buy the Romney position, the Charles Krauthammer position, that this is Obama pulling a fast one on Republicans?
Well, this isn't stimulus. This is dodging the tax bullet and pushing the can down the road
But
until
there is
we
stimulus
get to
spending. I mean, essentially stimulus spending, particularly on unemployment benefits, which are not paid for despite a lot of Republican concerns.
Right, and that's the grand deal. Extend all the Bush tax cuts, a new tax cut on payroll taxes, which I think that Republicans and Tea Partiers should support, in exchange for extending unemployment benefits, which Harry Reid has already demonstrated an ability to pass with the Republican votes he needs. So to me, it's a no-brainer to not allow taxes to go up dramatically in January so that we can then deal with fundamental tax reform. We can deal with Paul Ryan's budget, which is going to offer substantial spending reform.
But you are seeing some conservative pushback, and even folks that you guys supported, like Rand Paul, saying, I wouldn't have supported this.
Yeah.
We're starting to hear people like Michelle Bachmann saying she doesn't support this. I mean, if a bill like this came into the new Congress, and these are a lot of people you helped elect,
Right.
would they pass this?
Well, the next Congress is going to be fundamentally different. But the problem with this bill is that we have this Congress, we have Nancy Pelosi as Speaker, we have Harry Reid as Majority Leader, and if we don't do anything, taxes go up dramatically on January 1st. Next year, we have a whole new Congress, which allows us to do better public policy. So we should sort of accept the fact that we've won. We have Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid extending virtually all of the Bush tax cuts. But this is no long-term fix. We certainly want permanent extension of good tax policy. We want fundamental tax reform. We want aggressive spending reform. But we can't do that in this Congress, but we could certainly start doing that in January.
I want to ask you about this race for RNC chairman. Michael Steele surprised just about everybody in Washington and beyond by announcing last night that he wants to run for another term. What's your view on that? Is he the right person to continue to lead the Republican Party, or should they be looking right now for different voices, different leadership?
They definitely need new leadership, and it's really a question of whether or not the RNC, which was, whether we liked it or not, was an essential partner of the Tea Party in this last election. But they weren't raising the money, and they weren't doing basic get-out-the-vote efforts, and I think that probably undermines some of our candidates. So we need that functionality. Otherwise, we need to move it out of the RNC completely.
You think Michael Steele's leadership cost some races, ultimately, because they didn't have the resources?
They didn't do the job.
Now, you all sponsored a debate, actually, right, of some of the RNC candidates. Are you going to endorse a candidate, do you think, in this race?
I don't think we will endorse. Obviously, if you're going to challenge Steele, that you're going to have all these other challengers come together and choose a credible alternative. And maybe we will, but I don't really think that's our role. We're not members of the RNC.
All right, Matt Kibbe from FreedomWorks, we thank you for being here. Very much appreciated. Congratulations on the ruling yesterday. I don't know if we talked to you since the election. Congratulations on the gains.